What's up, everybody? James Ang here, Biblical Success Coach. I help entrepreneurs get unstuck, 10x your results, and break through. So, if that sounds like something interesting to you, today I am going through a series of recession proof business tips. What can we do during 2023 to recession proof you and your family? I'm titling this one The Biggest Secret of the Wealthy. So, if that sounds like something interesting to you, like this, share this, and if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube, subscribe to get this plus a ton more free content. And I'm telling you, you stick with this, your life is going to be better. At the very least, I hope it's more positive. All right. So when I first got into business, I'm 33 now. I was 19 years old. I was broke as a joke. I had no idea about money, didn't know my butt from my elbow about life, let alone business. But I got introduced to some mentors that changed my life. And they were young, they were successful. Ironically, they were college dropouts. Goes to show college is great, but it doesn't have much affiliation or association with school. Have you noticed that to be the case, by the way? Not knocking on it. I graduated from Berkeley. I'm very happy. But in terms of making money, didn't really teach you much about making money, right? So I remember my mentors told me, they asked me this one question. They said, James, what's the biggest difference of the wealthy versus the not? Hey, Lisa, it's late for you. What's the biggest difference of those that are wealthy versus those that are not? And I'm like, well, they're smarter, right? They're lucky. They're just some genius about them. And he said, well, if you take a look at an Elon Musk, if you take a look at a Bill Gates, if you take a look at anyone that you deem to be financially successful, what's the difference between them and us? And the answer that he gave me so changed my life. And if you understand this concept, will change your life too when it comes to making money and generating wealth. Is he said, wealthy people find ways to leverage their time, and those that are not wealthy don't. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, he said, Bill Gates has 24 hours in a day, doesn't he? I'm like, yeah. You have 24 hours in a day, don't you? Yeah. Well, what's the difference? It's how they've used their 24 hours and how they're able to leverage that time so that they can create more value in the marketplace, so that they can generate more income. And when I understood that concept, because I'm about you, when I think about business, if I ever even thought about it, I never thought about it before. But the only comprehension I had about business was, let's say for me, I was originally trying to be a doctor, is that I would say, well, I'm going to get my education and then I'm going to go start up my own clinic. Or maybe if someone that's like, I love cooking, I'm going to go sell baked goods. I'm going to go start up a restaurant. Or maybe they're like, I'm working at something, I have a skill, and then I'm going to go do it on my own. Or maybe it's things like Uber and these types of things. Or maybe it's doing whatever, right? All of them, what happens is they are simply moving from an employee to being self-employed. And what happens when you're self-employed, besides bad tax benefits, did you know when you're self-employed just by a small business owner, you're actually hammered by taxes like crazy. But number two, you are literally just quitting a job to hire yourself to be your own best employee. And it becomes a nightmare. Talk to any restaurant owner. They're going to tell you how stressful it is, how crazy it is. They're dealing with all the problems. And it's not really, really worth it many times. But if you understand leverage, and that becomes your game, if you understand, how do I go out there and duplicate my time? So what can leverage look like? Here's a couple things to consider. What are ways that you can leverage technology, for example? Now, if you want to be recession proof, are you using technology? So I'll use a simple example. Do you have things on your social media? Have you built out maybe like a website? Are there ways that you can leverage the internet to be able to get your information out there? And I own a couple businesses. I'm in a health and wellness business. I do coaching. I do quite a few things, actually. I wrote a book. So are there ways where you can set something up? So one example for me is I'll go and I'll make these little content on like TikTok or Instagram. And one of the products that I sell is this human growth hormone boosting product. So I checked my email the other day because I make a couple of promotional things about this. and I put a little link in my bio. And what happens is that they bought from my link. I woke up and I made money. So leveraging technology. What are different ways, how, and you'll learn. All of these are skill sets, right, that you can learn. So what are different ways to be able to leverage technology as one example? Another way is that successful people, they realize that you shouldn't do everything yourself. So there's some senses where you can hire people. One thing that changed my life is one of my mentors. He got training from a billionaire. And this billionaire said this. He said, "What's your goal?" Well, my goal is to make $1 million a year. Right. So $1 million a year. That means if you work a 40-hour work week, that means that you're making $500 an hour. So software could be technology, absolutely. So I use GHL. There's a lot of different types of softwares that you can use out there. Depends on your business, right? So technologies, internet, many different types of things, right? What are things where you can take yourself out of the equation? So another way to be able to create leverage is by hiring talent to do things that is not worth your time. So my mentor said, the billionaire said, okay, if you want to make $1 million a year, that means that per hour you're worth $500 an hour. So what are you doing in your business that can generate $500 an hour? And primarily a business owner, you're the primary salesperson at first. You're the vision caster. You're the one speaking the vision, right? You're the one that needs to be the face at first. If you're not in front of the prospect, if you're not in front of the client, then you're not making money. So a lot of the back end things, organizing, chores, for example, there's a lot of different things that are time suckers that while they're good to do, they hold you back. It's about time is more valuable than money, infinitely more time, more valuable than money. You can always get more money, but you can't get more time. So how much value do you put on your time? Put it in the chat. How much, let's just do this quick math here, okay? $1 million a year equals $500 an hour. My question to you is, how much a year would you absolutely love to be able to earn? Like the dream. And then scale that per hour. So if $1 million a year is $500 an hour, and I'd recommend if you're going to do business, shoot for a big goal. One of the biggest issues that I see in business period is people's goals are way too small. So set a major goal. Okay. And anything that you're doing that is not worth more than $500 an hour, find ways to delegate that. So you know what started happening? I'm like, all right. I started thinking there's some things technologically, like we built a website. And and I was learning a little bit. I think it's important to understand like the overview. Like Elon Musk might not know how to build a rocket, but he knows enough to be able to look at what's going on. So I hired a virtual assistant. I hired someone that was a tech person so they can actually build out a website and free up my time so I could do the things that actually drives money, which is getting in front of the prospect, for example. $1 million a year would be epical. Yeah, absolutely. So number 2 thing is you can leverage by hiring talent. So number 1 is technology. Number 2 is talent. Number 3, though, my favorite, is by partnering and training leaders. Employees are cool, but at the end of the day, I'm about you. I'm a bad employee. I'm horrible at being an employee. This is the typical employee mentality. What's the least amount that I can do to get the maximum payoff? Quick story. The only job I ever had, legitimate job, quote unquote, was I was a manager at Target. Right. So I was an entrepreneur on the side. And then I was my first job. Let's go try this thing. And man, I'm lazy. This is not something to take notes on. But I would start to find ways to be able to, clock in a little bit more than I actually worked. My 30-minute lunch break, I found a way to make it like 2 hours. I found a way to not get in at the time that I was actually clocking in. I should have been telling you this, So you guys are from my old work. I'm sorry, but that's kind of the general employee mindset, right? Like they're held by a paycheck typically. But if you partner with someone, if they have equal share with you, if they have ownership in some businesses, that means equity, stocks, things like that. There's other businesses, for example, our book that we launched, I'm doing an affiliate program. So an affiliate program is cool because people can just share your link for whatever product or service that you're selling. And they have invested interest because when they sell it, they make money. It's their ownership. And boom, right? I'm also in network marketing. So if you're network marketing, even better. This way I can actually recruit somebody who loves the product, loves the service. They can also have personal incentive and ownership to want to build their own business. And then they can also build sales teams as well too. So leverage of time. Why? You only have 24 hours in a day. You have to as quickly as possible. And if you want to grab a copy of the book, check my link in the bio, actually, my first link. You can see there's a free video and then it'll lead you to the book and everything. But leverage of building teams, building organizations. So in our business, for example, I'm able to partner with someone. I'm able to train them. I'm able to have them be their own self-sufficient leader. And eventually that 1 becomes 10, that 10 becomes 100, that 100 becomes 1,000, that 1,000. I've seen people with 1 million people in their organization. I'm glad that it's helpful. So you have to start thinking this way, right? Now in the beginning, you're not going to, I remember, and I'll just end it with this, right? When I understood leverage, I'm like, I want that in my life. It has to be a value though. It's like, I want leverage because I want freedom and I want scale. So if you want freedom, you want scale, then you're going to have to figure out ways to create leverage. So when I got into my first business, I'm like, man, how nice would it be if I had a big old team and a big old organization, but what am I going to do? I was me, myself, and me. And I remember I was speaking with my mentor and he had like tens of thousands of people in his organization. I remember he showed me his organizational tree. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks like little sand in an ocean. How is that even possible? You know how it is? You clasp onto the vision. You say, I want that. Do you want that? Do you actually want leverage? Say yes. I said, I want that. Number 2, you figure out how to become that person that can actually do that thing. So I started training. I started learning. I started picking up the books. I started doing the hard things. I started growing myself. I started listening to different audios. I started learning the skill sets and doing them. And one after another, after another, after another, after another, I remember I had an opportunity to train a new teammate. I remember this so clearly. I was training them how to use their back office system where they can view their organization and everything. And this teammate was like, man, how do you do this thing? I pulled up my organizational chart and I had to like zoom out because there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it looked like sand in the ocean again. And I remember seeing the eyes of my newest teammate open up. And they're like, how do you do that? And it brought me back to the flashback of when I first got started in business. And that was the same experience that I had on the flip side with my mentor. And I was just like, I can't believe that actually happened. You have to have the vision. You have to have the awareness. And then from there, start moving towards there. Man, leverage. Best kept secret of the wealthy. Find a way to leverage in your business as soon as possible with technology, with talent, with other people, training leaders. Start to do that and put that as a priority. You're going to see how much faster your business and your income can actually grow. So if that helps, we'd love to hear your thoughts below. Would you agree leverage is important? Subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't already. I'd love to hear your comments there and everything. And if it did impact you, like this, share this, and stay tuned. There's going to be more. We're talking about the 5 recession-proof things you need, the 5 things you need to have a recession-proof business. And there's another couple that I'm going to talk about. All right, everyone. On that, hope it helped. Talk soon. Bye-bye.